Good news, everyone. We're gonna move upwards from this one into Swadhisthana chakra, the orange one. So red, next color of the rainbow, is of course orange. And I just want to say that this is worth learning. This is not a chore. This is a place of hallucinations, bodily sensations, but it is very much about exploring what you already got and realizing that, because that's gonna kind of be the most important stepping stone to realizing the next chakra. And also, I want to present you with these drawings, these two pictures. So this guy is doing a coffee enema, and these are representations of sexual energy. And on the chakra flower itself, in the teachings in Sanskrit, even though it has the seeding sound of lam, the petals also have names. So you have Sam, Sham, Zam, and Vam. Now, Vam is also the seeding sound of the Swadhisthana, the orange and higher chakra. Okay? And it contains sexual energy and creative energy. So let's have a look at that. So muscular systems like the arch of the back and the lower washboard abs, the dick root basically, and the root lock is implied in that, and you have the Swadhisthana symbol itself being connected with water and the fluid nature of the intestines, right? And there's a lot of symbols here that we could talk about, but we also have to talk about the bad example, this kind of out of touch with your sensuality, your creativity, and your sexuality, and almost being numb from all overstimulation, right? So one of the things I guess I should ask is, does the topic, does the words, does it make you uncomfortable? Does it overstimulate you or overexcite or rub you the wrong way? And one test that has to do with that. See, in the movie The Great Lebowski, there's a female artist, and she paints while naked, and she paints art that is symbolic of her body. And because of that, she asks Lebowski in the movie, she says, does it make you uncomfortable? The word, me saying it, vagina. Very aggressively, she looks at him and says, vagina, cock, ejaculation, erection, erectile, right? Anal cavity. If these are the sorts of things that makes you uncomfortable or rubs you the wrong way, then maybe there's something to be worked on here that's actually also kind of basic, as these two are in deep, they are close to each other and related to how can you be sensual if you don't feel safe. On a related note, I think it's only correct now that I need to talk more about my experiences, because why should you teach this if you don't even know what it is? And so maybe I can show you some of my experiences and say that this is actually quite possible. You can have them as well. First, let us start with something very simple, which is dreaming. And I had this weird dream about being with a person who reminded me of a facilitator in Peru. He's very famous. and he put on my hand some kind of powder and then grilled my hands with a torch with the powder on them, and I smelt it. And when I looked over the mountains, they started morphing, and it morphed as if my eyes were artificial intelligence, if that makes sense. You know how artificial intelligence can gradually morph a picture? It was kind of like that. And then I was in my house again, my childhood home, and my phone began ringing and has an alarm. And I was in the dream, but I also heard my alarm ringing in the dream. And I wandered throughout my house, and it started to become an earthquake. And these two realities melted together, and I heard the alarm, and I heard the rumbling, and it became an earthquake in the dream. And eventually the doors and the room started shrinking, and I went outside like this. And then I woke up and I saw the fading of the dream to darkness. The light of the dream faded to darkness. This is a very common, very normal experience. And the basic level of Muldahara is to appreciate it, that you actually realize that you actually have this power for doing something like this within you. And that is somebody who doesn't teach that, who just teaches compassion and ethical behavior and rules and regulations for your behavior in this kind of existence. They can never bring you to Nirvana because it doesn't take you there. So, a lot of Buddhism they have basically given up on trying to attain Nirvana. You see, Siddhartha Gautama claims to have gotten Nirvana after 1 year of practice. He did 6 years of asceticism that didn't lead him anywhere. Then he used this method and attained Nirvana in 1 year. And today there are monks saying they follow his teachings, and they don't even have it after 10 years. In fact, if you get it after 10 years, it's like, wow, he was fast. He was fast. So there's something wrong here. And this is just a hypothesis, but this is actually based on something that I've done. And as you see, I'm laying sideways. I'm not really in a meditation position, but I've done this in seated meditation, and the promise of the experience is that it could be even more potent that way. And we have this, okay? I just look at it, okay? Have you ever seen this? This is kind of connected with your heartbeat. Maybe if you work out a sweat and then you close your eyes, you can see your heartbeat and these will appear. And then a centralization, and they become more like blobs and they float around. And then there's a experience of loss of time, nothing, no vision, nothing, but you're still kind of there. And then you come back, and now this has formed a spiral and opens up a portal. It tears through the fabric of the darkness that you see behind your eyes. It becomes thinner, and you see something almost like a window, and it's like the light cannot fully go through it. It's like when you have a flashlight on your thumb, the thumb becomes orange. It's that color. And then if you open your eyes at this point, you can kind of see it even with your eyes open. And you can also close your eyes, and it opens up into a portal. There will be vibrations, and you will relax and look at the portal, and then you will essentially fly into that window. And what is so strange about this experience here is not an ordinary dream. This is me coming up in a place. I see some, this, I mean, you could call it dream, but there are other types of themes. This is more of an astral type experience theme with these, you know, she's basically underneath the brain. You see the design and a cloak and, you know, stuff like that. But what's the most strange about this is that when I touch stuff, when I research my sensations, they're actually there. This here it says føle means feel. And I've written down here a world in the light from the self. You know, and it's kind of, as you go deeper, it's like, oh shit, it's always like that. I'm just measuring it in this weird kind of way that you could call it holding on to the suffering. And if I let go, it would always be like this. So when I talk about Nirvana, I'm actually kind of more talking about a whole bunch of processes that allows for this experience, where in that experience you can have a sensation. You can see evidence or research whether or not it's possible to live without a body, to live without a objective outside reality. And maybe that experience will eventually overcome the experience of that you call being awake in the outside objective world sense of being awake, and essentially just be more powerful and overcome it and push reality aside the way a dream pushes reality aside. Furthermore, we can talk about different states of being, like being a memory. You know, did the past really happen? It kind of only exists in your memory. That's not the only thing. You also have in the present. When I look at you, I do not see you. I see my you, right? And you don't see me. You don't know me. If I saw your representation of me, I might be horrified. Wow, is that how you see me? That's not me. So there's a level of separation between us that cannot be bridged. And then there's the future. Does that even exist? I have plans for tomorrow. It's gonna, and they arrive. And then there is this dream world, this fantasy world, this consciousness. And what do we call that? What is that really? Because it's not like it doesn't exist. It's like it can become, well, frankly, I would argue it could become more real than what you're currently experiencing. And then we can talk about the Swadhisthana, because we appreciate the dream. We know what it's like to see the dream fade to darkness behind our eyes when we wake up. But now we can talk about a new sensation, one we've created or one we have had to put in effort to have, which is, let's say you saw the dream appear and pick you up, and then you traveled into the dream. You had a wake-induced lucid dream. And for now, at Swadhisthana level, you don't need to astral project. You don't need to do anything like that. It's just a understanding that your consciousness is not a set amount, and just because you think something is impossible today does not mean that you will consider it impossible tomorrow. Today you might consider this impossible, and especially at the intensity that I'm saying it could be had at. But as you progress and you do this more and more reliably, you will say that, oh shit, he might be right. And it's okay for you to be a skeptic until that happens, because this cannot be proven. This is a subjective, the gap between me and you cannot be bridged. I'm not seeing you. I'm seeing you. I'm seeing you from this point of view, right? You're seeing me from this point of view, but I'm experiencing me from this point of view, right? So we don't understand each other, okay? Here's my practice. And permanence, being permanent, because that's the thing that disappears when you get knocked out by relaxation, is the permanence, right? And deep focus, or nirvana, okay, allows you to remain, even when it allows you to be nothing and still be permanent, okay? So that's why I do deprivation, and that's why when I do this, and this is not the only practice, by the way. There are many practices. Holy shit, man. Look, this is my combining systems. What do we have? We have chakras, 8 chakras. 2 for the heart, right? And we have the spheroth here, and then we have these to deal with knots in the body. I use this as well. And it's like, from here, this movement is less complicated, This is a very complicated thing we're trying to do here. But we have anchors. We create anchors by focusing our attention to different parts here. So say I want to raise Ida or Pingala. Because of all this, because of the spheroth, if I want to circle it, say I want to circle it, I can do dun, 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 right? And I could also, so this helps me to kind of make that kind of weird attention or travel with my awareness. It makes my awareness becomes more focused, so the light becomes more like a laser instead of a flashlight. And because of that, I feel bigger, because my attention used to be this big and travel around here, but now my attention is like this big, so it can travel like woo, like a fish, right? And that allows me to create effects. For example, if I take my attention and I travel back, like to the back of my skull, I can sometimes get a little color here. If I distract myself from my breathing and make myself believe that I am breathing, my lungs will send a signal up here and I'll see light. So that's and also this can become so intense. This is something I saw this with my own eyes, okay? And so this is by far, do not think for one moment that this is something I do alone, that this is the only thing, right? But this is something I do to create focus. And the reason why I'm mentioning it is because a commentator on my last video, he got a little scared. I understand, because what we're doing here is this kind of sensation of being comfortably present inside, and only that, shutting out sound, shutting out light, getting comfortable, wearing comfortable clothes, and listening to repetitive sound, as taking away as many distractions as possible. And then on top of that, remain there in that internal room and choose that over processes, including trances, heartbeat, breaths, visuals, because they will, I experience that they offer themselves, but I am teaching myself to stay permanent, to be permanent, to have some sort of permanence, and that's going to give me focus. But I don't just relax, I do tons of yoga. Look at this. This is the yoga. This is something that I do. This is the energy bar. Gateway meditation. I do this one seated. I prefer to do this one seated because I can actually see the energy bar. like a katana sword or a lightsaber, and yeah, I'm having fun with that. So I don't need to be laying down for that one. I sit on the floor and I do it like this. Yeah, so that's very interesting. And also, of course, make a nice environment around you. Have some nice, sweet-smelling plants. This one is flowering right now. It's so precious. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah, and these, you know, there's so much to get into. I would love to talk more about my experiences, but I you know, when I say Nirvana, I actually mean to let go of, solve the suffering. So many of them, you'll come to them, oh, teach me Nirvana. It's like, oh, no. I'm going to teach you ethical behavior. I look at that and I say, wow, does he even know? Does he even offer you a solution? I'm trying to offer you a solution. And I'm trying to say that that's within you. And they're just giving you stuff like, be a good boy. It's like, oh, man, can you please give me $50 so I can buy some food? I'm very hungry. You don't need food, you need Jesus. Well, okay, well, anything for food. Where is Jesus? He's in your heart. He's in your heart. And then he just walks off. You know? You know, oh man, I'm so hungry. Can I have $50 for food, please? Or you just give me some food. You know, have you tried the Quran? Man, I don't have time. I'm starving. Try again. Read it in Arabic this time. Read it in Arabic. You know, it's like, it's a bullshit answer because they don't have answers. Geez, I don't even have answers to a sort of extent, but at least I'm honest and open about it. At least I'm trying. At least I'm busting my ass. And on that, I think you're better off following my advice. Yeah.